love shooter for the try to dump the gun. Hey, it's faded out. Yeah, 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 yeah. Brothers, yeah, yeah. I'm a love shooter for they try to drop the gun. They know I be who I hit a target on the run. Aiming for the gold, never settle for the bronze. I be with that King J, way before the bruh. I'm a love shooter for they try to drop the gun. They know I be who I hit a target on the run. Aiming for the gold, never settle for the bronze. I be with the King J, way before the bruh. Yeah. Strange number, that's a missed call. We on top, make a roof, that's a hit dog. K9 on the ground, that's a pitfall. Righteous man eat high, we on street law. Be a light, I need the highest votes. It's a wave and I'm on it like I'm driving boats. Split, watch our footing so we never slip. In a second, there's mimosas on the mothership. Jumped up out the push so I can understand. Nothing in the house but righteous contraband. Staying positive on negative, they probably fast. I had to make a stand and never take a stand. Been with my brother, rather see him living. People always on that bull, Jordan, Scottie Pippen. Learn to not complain, it's the life I'm giving. Yahuwah, that's the name, power made a difference. I'm a love shooter for they try to drop the gun. They know I be who I hit a target on the run. Aiming for the gold, never settle for the bronze. I be with the King J, way before the bruh. I'm a love shooter for they try to drop the gun. They know I be who I hit a target on the run. Aiming for the gold, never settle for the bronze. I be with the King J, way before the bruh. Jump about the point so I can understand. Nothing in the house but righteous contraband. Stand positive on negative, they probably fast. I had to make a stand and never take a stand.
All right, Shabbat, Shalom. Shalom, Shalom, excuse me. Yasharal. I hope everyone is okay. I got a lot that I feel that I have to say. There's so much that I want to say, but I know that rarely happens. I rarely convey 10% of all the amazing, mind-blowing goodness Abba just pours out on me daily. And you know, most times I'm not even asking for it. I'm really just amazed sometimes at how he does it, and I'm left scratching my head, asking why. What'd I do? You know. I honestly, though, to be honest, I am wore out right now. I'm tired. I'm sore. I'm in my new truck, and it don't have an auxiliary port, so I have to run the music and whatever through a AM FM transmitter, and it sounds shitty. I couldn't, it'd take us a long time for me to count all the reasons that even I feel I shouldn't push record. There's way more than that quote unquote sane people would do. But let me just say this to any of y'all who might stick around because you're curious to see what I claim that the Most High has shown me regarding Gog, Magog, in the set apart place, that temple, the house of the Most High. I'm right here on the side of the highway. You're gonna hear background noise. It's probably going to be ugly. And trust that I feel you. I don't want to be doing it either. I'll know if it sounds horrible just like you do. I'll know it before you do. If you laugh, I'm probably laughing twice as hard. Same goes for crying. One thing I do notice every time Abba unloads on me with a bunch of mind-blowing truth, and when he shows it to me, I realize that it's something that everyone thinks it's this when it's not. I just can't wait. I get so excited. Well, that happened like this morning, yesterday. And I've been getting slapped upside the head by every opponent. You know, nothing but opponents, opposition, trying to convince me not to do it. Someone told me this morning about what I'm talking about right now, this Gog and Magog stuff. They said, that's not spiritual. How could you be spiritual? If you can just hold on and you can understand that you yourself probably know I'm not someone that's going to sit here and just bullshit you and lie to you. That if I'm telling you there's a mind-blowing revelation that I got to share, I have it. Now, is it going to be hard to get it out? Will I package it like the world? Absolutely not. You should know that everything that great, that it's that good, all great things take work to obtain. You're not just going to get this, although I did just say Abba just throws it on me. It does seem that way, but in reality, I do work, and it's all I want, so I am constantly asking for it. But when a revelation like the one I'm going to share with y'all tonight, when he showed me that, I wasn't even expecting that. I'm always expecting to learn, and that is probably one thing that sets me apart, and is one of the reasons he gave this hidden truth to me. If you can just buckle up, Buttercup, and muster through this, and you can acknowledge it, you'll live forever. Your life will change. You don't have to worry. Will you worry? Yes, you probably will worry again after tonight. Do you have to, though? No, you shouldn't have to. Can you know beyond the shadow of a doubt who you are? What all this is? Yes, you will. What you do with it, that's on you. I'm going to tell you the truth that I'm talking about. These kind of high level, top secret, just come declassified truths, you're not going to find those in a church where a preacher's preaching, a pastor. You're not going to find it at any of those places. No Sunday, twice on Sunday, once on Wednesday. You can see I'm tired. I really don't have the energy to be doing this, and I got other things I got to do. But if you can just bear with me, you'll see why I have no choice. This has to be done. And if, I hate to say this, but this is the truth. If any of you wouldn't share it and would encourage me not to, you're a scumbag after you've come to what I'm about to tell you, share with you. I hate to say that because I know so many people will. They're not. They won't. They wouldn't feel obligated the way I do. Because they probably would never pay attention long enough to see what I'm talking, not what I'm talking about, what the Word of the Most High is talking about. So today, and this happens a lot of times, sorry about my raving and ranting, but I got to get certain things out there so you'll know the whole story. Most every time he gives me a quick download of just mind-blowing whatever, right before that, I'm a lot of times feeling like I just should just give up. That maybe they're right. That it's not that they're right, but it's just not, there's nothing I can do. It's just too much. I'm sick of being the outcast. I'm sick of me being chopped liver. And if I ever needed new words to put more emphasis on that one, I'm chopped liver because the enemy knows the rules of engagement. And he knows that if he causes you to sin against the Most High, he won, you're dead. That's his objective. That's his whole mission. Right? We all know that, right? So every time you've thought, there's no way, Dottie, that what you're saying is true. There's no way that he would give you revelations, truths like that. You don't know. You're lying. You're wrong. Stop. If you've ever thought those thoughts about me. For one, it's for good reason. Don't be too hard on yourself. The Most High made it this way. And it had to be that way. It has to. But just know that what is talked about here in Ezekiel chapter 40 about Gog and Magog, about the Battle of Armageddon, it's everything. And you'll have to understand what it's saying. How many times have you came and read right here in Ezekiel chapter 40? If you're like me, you probably came here more times than you could ever imagine to count. And you read how this man measured the temple with the flaxseed line or whatever in his hand. You've read all that. I know. Were you like me? And every time that you read it, did you just not give it a thought, a moment's thought, to wonder why we're reading this? Did you ever think, why am I reading this? Why do I need to know that the wall is 9 foot thick? Why do I need to know this? I always thought that way. And I never read it. I skipped right through it. I barely could read right now, but I can go pretty fast when I'm not speaking the words and I'm just going from left to right with my eyes. I can speed read that son of a gun pretty quick and just scan over something. I don't think I saw 10 words in this whole chapter my whole life, because I scanned over it and seen it was the measurements. But never did I just stop and say, what is going on here? Why does he want me to know these measurements? If you've been around since last summer, I went to a dead spot, I guess, for lack of a better term, there for a while, and I'm sure I talked about it. And I really didn't know. He showed me the land, and he showed me some other things, and then it was like it came to a stop. And I worried a few times, was that it? Was that all I'm going to get? Was that walk of him showing me these amazing truths over? And now it's just try not to die or something? I don't know. I felt that way plenty of times. I felt that way today. Did I have any intentions on quitting? Absolutely not. You can bet that most things, if you see me when I'm doing them, if they're hard, I'm dreading it, but I would never let you know that. I muster through it like we all do. And after Abba shows me a revelation like this, he shows me that I had to go through all those things that I went through that had me feeling that way in order to come to that very moment in time to understand the Word, how he wants us to understand it. And if I hadn't went through those, every specific step, I would have never made it to that point. Last summer, I had felt that way. And then I mentioned a couple times that I do know that he led me to Ezekiel, like chapter 38, I think, or 40, the measuring of the temple. And I said in those videos, I can't remember what video it was, I'd have to go back through them, but I do remember saying in a couple videos that he had pointed that out to me. He showed me that I am a gatekeeper. Now he's shown me what the gates are. They're those pearls. Pearls are great truths. Great truths are what you, everyone, are going to have to embrace. They're going to have to acknowledge those great truths, and they're specific great truths. And we don't get to decide what those truths are. They're set in stone. Abba knows it. When you find out, you have to acknowledge it. If not, you can't go through that gate, because that truth is the gate. It's what permits you to come on inside of the courtyard. And we're going to see that. He showed me I was a gatekeeper. He brought me to the temple. After showing me the land, He's taken me on such an amazing journey. The world wouldn't see 10 seconds of it. But you couldn't imagine. And all it takes is loving him, showing him, just like your wife. She likes it when you show her a little attention, right? Well, when you show Abba zilch, you actually show him that you don't give two rats' asses about him. He ain't messing with you. Just how it is. But he took me to the measurements, and I left that, and I think I made a video or two where I went back and we read a little bit of it, and I was going to just kind of look into it. And I said in those videos that I didn't know why he took me there. And just recently, if you've been here, you know he showed me what the pearls was. He's been showing me that pretty much all scripture is parable. But keep in mind, Abba is the mastermind, and his words and things have tenfold, multi-trillion-fold meaning. I was reading this today, and I thought, why does he want us to know what these measurements are? And I've been feeling like they're symbolic, and they are. Spoiler alert, they're parables. And if when you're reading it, say you and someone else read the same chapter 40, and you notice it's parables, realize that it's parables, and the other person says, no, Rosh is Russia, and the Battle of Armageddon, the Lord's bringing them together in the valley. When you watch that person saying that stuff, it'll make you so sad for that person, because you realize just how deep in the delusion they are, and that they really don't, they have hope. I won't say they don't, because they have Abba, but to me, in my weak, puny little understanding, it just seems like they'll never come out, because they're just stuck. You know that the world thinks that. They think that the Battle of Armageddon, you probably think, just like I did, that was literally going to happen. But the truth of it, you know how Abba's truths are, that they just take care of everything. Dynamic ain't the word. All encompassing, all powerful, all knowing. He's unbelievable with the way he does things. I can't even put it into words. I have a hard time doing it most days, but right now, I'm thankful that he shows me these things. But don't think for a second I'm walking around just loving the reproach, because I'm not. And this is probably only going to get me more, which I understand. But the truth in this message will make it worthwhile. It will make you realize that that's exactly what 40's talking about. Gog and Magog, the word's going to show you, is exactly what we fight against every day. It's what's gonna and could possibly kill you and me if we ain't bowdy giving all esteem to him. So let's break it down. Put your Berean boots on. And you have to be someone that to think that if you're thinking that Gog and Magog is real and the Battle of Armageddon is real, if I'm telling you, and you should know I've got no reason to bullshit you, you should think that. You should maybe see. Because wouldn't you want to know if you're wrong? Why would I lie to you when I tell you that it's everything? It's where we are on this journey, and you have to pass this level to proceed. So let's go. I'm going to start right here in chapter 40, verse 1. In the 25th year of our exile at Rosh Hashanah, on the 10th of the new moon, in the 14th year after the city was stricken, on that same day, the hand of Yahuwah came upon me, and he brought me there. Let's pause there for a second. Are you someone that envisions Ezekiel getting lifted up by a big hand and taken through the sky, through the clouds, and sat back down like by the river or wherever? Is that what you think? Wrong. I thought that. Don't feel bad. I was there too. But that's false. That's not what's happening. And, you know, I understand that fairy tales are what the people desire. But they're not real. We know they're not real. Have you seen any fairy tale type of shit going on in your life? No, neither have I. It don't exist. But, you know, they say truth is stranger than fiction. It's marvelous. And I love every second of it. And you will too, if you open wide and eat the truth. How does it say that the Most High brought him there? In visions of the Most High, he brought me into the land of Yasharal. So right there, he let you know, he really didn't bring me in his hand, actually. You know, it's a figure of speech, bro. You know? But the world, they're literal. What's that word where you claim to be so literal and that you can't talk to that person that way because they take everything too literal? That's bullshit. That's a cop-out. They just want an excuse to bitch, I think. Could be wrong. But you better understand parables, or you will miss the truth. You have. Because not by a big CGI looking hand, Abba brought him in visions of the Most High. He brought me into the land of Yasharal and set me on a very high mountain. Abba gave me visions, not like I saw a play out in front of my eyes or like a dream. No, what's a vision? It's if you have the vision to do something, right? Like these entrepreneurs might have the vision to open a company. My vision was to minister, not be a preacher or whatever, but to just be that guy, be someone that's shouting Abba's word. That was my vision. In visions, of the Most High. He brought me into the land of Yasharal. Did he really bring him in with that hand? No. Did he really set him up on a high mountain? No, he didn't. But however you want to look at it, where he brought him, where he brought me, was on a big ass high mountain. And upon it, toward the south, was as the structure of a city. So he brought me there, and look, a man whose appearance was like the appearance of bronze. Did he really look bronze? You think he did? And a line of flax, and a measuring rod in his hand. And he stood in the gateway. So what's that saying? It's saying that Ezekiel sees the temple, he sees the gate, and there's this big man that has the appearance of bronze standing in the middle of that gate. So that tells me that that man is what he has to go through to get to that gate. We'll see. And the man said to me, Son of man, listen up, see with your eyes and hear with your ears. Do you think he just is telling you that because he wants you to really pay attention this time? I'm telling you, you better take note of every little word in the Most High's word. He's telling you, see. Make sure you're looking at these words. Make sure you are hearing what the words say. Get out what they sound like, who's speaking them, how fast, how slow. Get that out of your mind. And set your heart on all that I am showing you. For you were brought here in order to show them to you. Declare to the house of Yasharal all that you are seeing. Now, you could probably say, yeah, anyone could have read that chapter and thought, well, now they want to go declare something to the house of Yasharal. I get it. Trust me. I do. Did you? Is one part of the question that I have to that. Did you do it? Have you went and told Yasharal about the land and all that he showed him, this man that was like bronze, showed him here in Ezekiel? Did you? Okay. I hope you did. And please let me know if you did. I'd like to hang out, maybe, chop it up with you a little bit if you don't mind. If not, whatever. But if you hold on, you'll see why that was supernatural. Me being led to Ezekiel 40 or 38. He said he brought him there in order to show what to him? What did he say? On all that he's going to show him. And he wants him to go declare it to Yasharal. Verse 5, and look, a wall all around the outside of the house. And in the man's hand a measuring rod, 6 cubits long, each being a cubit and a handbreadth. I want to pause right now. If you could look at this, the way this needs to be looked at. Say you have an exam coming up, you're in college, and you have to pass that exam next week in order to pass and graduate. You're going to study that those books in order to pass that test, right? This right here the measurements. And all that he says, that man, needs to be thoroughly broken down and studied. And if you do, you'll see that it's the map. It's a map for you to navigate your way to everlasting life. Don't believe me? Just watch. Outside of the house and in the man's hand, a measuring rod, 6 cubits long, each being a cubit and a handbreadth. So is he saying the measuring rod is a cubit and a handbreadth? No, he said in the man's hand a measuring rod, 6 cubits long. So the rod was 6 cubits long, each being a cubit and a handbreadth. So the rods, or the handbreadths, cubits, that they measure that rod with are 1 cubit and a handbreadth. They add a handbreadth. Why, I don't know. But I'm sure you'll understand that he has his method. And you know nothing about it. And he measured the width of the wall structure, 1 rod, and the height, 1 rod. So you probably say, well, what do I need to know that for? This temple, who cares? They're building that when they come back, the 3rd temple. Nope. Like I told you, you better take your notes. There's a reason he is talking about a wall here. A wall keeps you out. That wall is designed to keep people, whatever, out of the holy place, the set apart place, where you are trying to get to live and have eternal life. Therefore, there's a wall around it that not anyone's going to be able to walk through. You probably won't be able to climb it. You're going to have to figure out how to do it, and it's going to be work. And why do we need to know that it's 1 rod high and 1 rod wide? The height of it is 1 rod. So how tall is it? It's 6 cubits plus 6 half cubits, so it's 3. So it's 9, right? So it's 9 cubits high and 9 cubits wide. What's 9 times 9? Wink, wink, you guessed it. Remember that number, 81. Then he came to the gate facing east. So when he said the gate facing east, he's making you aware that that is a completely separate gate. That's a whole other pearl that you're going to have to go through. When he went up its stairs and measured the threshold of the gate, oh wait, did I skip some? No. 1 rod wide, and the other threshold 1 rod wide. So he came to the gate facing east. He went up its stairs and measured the threshold of the gate. 9 feet wide, 9 cubits wide. And the other threshold, 9 times 9, 81. And the little room, 1 rod long and 1 rod wide, 81. And between the little rooms, a space of 5 cubits. So they had little rooms along the side. I think they said they had 3, but we need to understand we need to know how many there was. Pretty sure. We need to know what the flaxseed meant. But I think there's 3 rooms on either side of the gate. So he said that there's 5 cubits a space of 5 cubits in between the little rooms. And the threshold of the gate inwards from the porch of the gate was 1 rod. So, from the inside threshold of the porch of the gate in was 9 feet. Then he measured the porch of the inside gate 1 rod. Let me pause right there. You remember, hopefully, how we found the understanding of what the word means when he says the porch, what the porch represents. He says that he will thresh you from the porch to the, I can't remember how they put it, but it's like from the time you're born to the day you shut your eyes for the last time, you're going to be threshed. And all dross any dross that you have will never stop being burnt out of you until your eyes are closed. From the porch to the, we'll go read it again. I can't remember. I swear I'm super exhausted right now, but we're going to do this. Thank me later, I hope. Thank Abba. Just read it. And the threshold of the gate inward from the porch of the gate was 1 rod. So there's a reason that he wants us to know these dimensions at the start of the porch. So what started you on your journey when your journey began towards that gate? Those numbers, I haven't come to the confirmation of whether or not they amount to, say, days that you go through depression or days you give all esteem, how many times you give all esteem, or how many days your campaign lasted. I don't know. But I do see a little bit of a thread in the numbers so far. Just a little bit of it. I'll come back to it. And he measured the porch of the gate 8 cubits. And its post 2 cubits. So the porch, which was inside of the gate, he measured the porch of the gate. So each gate's got a porch. And that porch for sure was 8 cubits, and its post 2 cubits. So that means that is, if it comes in 8 cubits, and its post is, we'll come back. And the porch of the gate was on the inside. But I can tell you right now, it's 2 times 8, basically. You're going to have 16 square cubits in that space. And the little rooms of the east gate, 3 on one side and 3 on the other, all 3 of the same size, and posts were of the same size, and on this side and that side. So, and the little rooms of the east gate, there's 3 rooms on one side and 3 on the other, all 3 of the same size. And we knew how big they were. They were 9 times 9. So it was 81, 81, and 81. 81, 81, and 81. So that's 160, 243. Am I wrong? 243, I believe. I'm writing this down. We'll come back. I'll come back. And you'll hopefully just hear me when I do. So the little rooms had 81 in each one, which equaled 243, 243. And posts were of the same size on this side and that side. A post is what we know the post is symbolic for, like in the Passover, that they smeared the blood over the doorpost, right? That's why it's being said in this chapter of Ezekiel. It's not because he wants you to know what the temple looks like, so you can imagine how great it's going to be. And if that's what you see, we're going to read about you. We are in this chapter in Ezekiel. You're in the middle of the battle of Armageddon. Don't believe me? Prove me wrong. You already know. So there was posts on each side of these little rooms. What's them little rooms for? When you're coming through the gate, there's 3 rooms. What's those for? For visiting guests? Are there going to be people that's just there waiting for you to come in and out? Sounds like they're rooms. Would that be literal? And is Abba wasted all his time in Ezekiel's to put this down in writing and preserve it for us for thousands of years so we would fantasize about 3 little rooms in the gate as we're coming home? No. So to me, a room is a little sanctuary, place of rest, refuge. You get 3 along the way. Each one is this size. Each one maybe is on that number of the date. I don't know the numbers thing yet. And I'm sure there's a reason I don't just yet. And I can't imagine him showing me any more. I want it than what he does in the day. I mean, my mind is blown right now. And I haven't got anywhere near what you really want to hear. I hope you do. And the border in the front of the little rooms, 1 cubit on this side, 9 cubits, and 1 cubit on that side, 9 times 9. And the gate room was 6 cubits on this side and 6 cubits on that side. So that's, if he's saying the room was 6 cubits, so 6, and the gate was 6 cubits on this side, 6 cubits, so it's 6 times 6, so that's 36. So those gate rooms were 36 cubits. And he measured the gate from the roof of one little room to the roof of the other. And the width was 25 cubits. So 25 feet, 25, about 30 feet is in between these 2 little rooms, but yet they're only 9 feet wide. There's no way there could be 30 some feet from the peak of the little room to the next peak of another little room if they're a 9 by 9 plus 5. It would be 4.5 and 4.5 and 5. That would be 9 plus 5, 14 cubits away. And it just said that they're 20, how far? 25 cubits. Door to door. See, it's symbolic. I could be wrong on that estimation, but if you can't understand, and if you haven't concluded that Abba he wouldn't waste everyone's time for you so you could understand the thickness of the wall of the temple. If you haven't come to that, well, I don't want to say anything. If you just stay around or you go read the rest of this chapter for yourself, you're going to see your future, what your future holds. And he measured the post 60 cubits high, and even to the post of the courtyard all around the gate. So the posts were 60 cubits high, even to the post of the courtyard all around the gate. So I'm pretty sure that the Most High is saying, you talking about those posts, because that is where you are going to put the blood, quote unquote, over your door, the threshold, around the post, right? And what we know all about that, right? What it is symbolic of: the lamb, the innocent blood. Everyone thinks still that you have to go and search through the woods, maybe, or a farm, and find a perfect lamb and slaughter it and play with its blood, and it has to be just a perfect one in order for Abba to forgive you, or for whatever. I'm going to tell you right now, that's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. The blood is it's your sacrifice. The ascending offerings, the slaughterings that you slaughter in thanksgiving to the Most High, that's things that you gladly remove from your life. Christmas, for example. When you stop celebrating Christmas, you slaughtered something of yourself, and you did it in thanksgiving to Abba, and you're thankful that you have done it now. That was an offering, an ascending offering. We could look deep into that, but that is what you are giving him, what you daily devote to him, your esteem of him. Sin offering, that's pretty self-explanatory. So the post of this temple is going to be painted with what it cost you, what you paid to get there. To where? We're at the courtyard now. And he measured the post 60 cubits high, even to the post of the courtyard all around the gate. And from the front of the entrance gate to the front of the porch of the inner gate was 50 cubits. So from the front of the entrance gate outside to the front of the porch of the inner gate was 50 cubits. So that little space is going to be 50 cubits. And there were narrowed window frames in the little rooms, and to their posts at the inside of the gate all around. Now, why would we need to know about the windows and them frames being narrowed? Can you see now? It's the narrowed window. It's your opportunity. It's slim. It's not going to be easy for you to do this. You're going to have to get into those rooms of rest that are on the way into the set apart place. You have to get in, if you want to call it, slip in, however you want to slice it and dice it, by any means necessary. And their post, the little rooms post at the inside of the gate all around, and for the porches too. And there were windows all around on the inside, and on each post were palm trees. What do you think the palm trees represent? A palm tree is known for its endurance, right? Its strength. It can withstand hurricane hurricane winds. And there's one on each post, too. And we know in scripture, trees, he calls us trees sometimes. But then he also calls ways of, like, doctrines, trees. The tree of life, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So, on those posts, you're going to see anyone who can see will see two ideas, two doctrines that have withstood time, or we'll see. And he brought me into the outer courtyard. Do you think he was like, get over here, Ezekiel? Jump up in my hand. We're flying over there now. Shut up. I'll show you when we get there. You think that's what was happening? You're seeing now that you thought that's what happened. I did too. And it's not because you're dumb. It's because you never took the time to read it. Or even care. And I hope you care now. He brought him into the outer courtyard. And look, rooms and a pavement made all around the courtyard. 30 rooms on the pavement. 30 places for you to wine and dine. Pavement. The roads, it wasn't even a dirt road. It was paved for your convenience. So you didn't stub your toe on your way in and out of restful, comfortable rooms. And all you had to do was step through one gate. You see? I don't know the specific, what the specific truths were, that those pearls were that got me inside this gate. But I'll guess that the tree in the garden had something to do with it. The land, the name Jesus, a few others. And he measured the width from the front of the lower gate to the front of the inner courtyard on the outside, 100 cubits toward the east and the north. I'm going to take a guess, and I'm going to guess that the measurement of those courtyards, the space, maybe it will have something to do with the time it will take you to get in all the way, because you're going to go through this level by level. You don't jump the wall and come up around however you like. Everyone checks their ego at the door and their shoes, and they enter through accordingly, appropriately. If you think any different, you're full of pride. We've talked about this, you know. So it has to be a process. And the gate of the outer courtyard facing north, he measured its length and its width. And its little rooms, 3 on this side, 3 on that side. Its posts and its porches had the same measurements as the first gate. Its length was 50 cubits and its width 25. So the whole pearl gate was 50 cubits long, 25 cubits wide. So that's, what is that, 1,200? Is that 1,000? Yeah, I think that's 1,250. 1,250, I think. 1,250 cubits. And its windows and its porches and its palm trees had the same measurements as the gate facing east. And I didn't catch any measurement of a palm tree. Might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there wasn't. And they went up to it by 7 steps. Are you still thinking that Abba was just like, yeah, I'll write the 7 steps in there, let them know it's real big and nice, and slap yourself, really, at this point. And know for sure, none of this is literal. Could he have a temple where there's 7 steps? Well, yeah. Would he in any way feel the need to tell you how it looks? The temple that he lives in? No. People have died for these words right here to get to you. The blood. The people who died protecting the scripture, and there's been plenty of people who have bled out onto the ground. You can thank them that the words here, partly, you can thank them. They had their blood all over their doorpost into the gate. They can always flee, though. And the gate of the inner courtyard was opposite the north gate and at the eastern gate, and he measured from gate to gate 100 cubits. And he took me toward the south, and look, a gate toward the south, and he measured its posts and porches according to these measurements. And windows were in it, and in its porches all around like those windows. Its length was 50 cubits, and its width 25. 7 steps led up to it. Its porch was in front of them, and it had palm trees on its post. I might be wrong about the number of the palm trees, too. I thought it said 1 on each post. We'll go back and look at that later. One on this side and 1 on that side. Right there, duh. There, see? You see how easy it is? What's so sad, too, is these people who only know Russia is Magog and Armageddon's coming. And they'll never see, it seems like they would never see what we're seeing right now. It seems like those people, it's sad seeing how stubborn they are, that they think they know. I don't go very long without someone telling me, I've read that, I know what it says. I don't know what this is saying. We could go back over what we've read so far, and we will see more blooming revelations, blossoming right before our eyes. And who are you to think that you've got all you need to know out of it? We're going to find out right here. And he brought me to the inner courtyard through the south gate. And he measured the southern gate according to these measurements. And its little rooms and its posts and its porches were according to these measurements, and windows were in it, and in its porches all around, 50 cubits long, 25. And there were porches all around, 25 cubits long, 5 cubits wide. So there were porches all around from the beginning of the inner courtyard up to wherever you start. The porch represents beginning. Just like your house, you're sitting on your front porch. When you enter the house, you start at the porch, you cross the threshold, and you go on in. You see? And there were porches and its porches were toward the outer courtyard, and palm trees were on its post, and 8 steps led up to it. So this one has 8 steps now. I can't remember how many sets of steps there was, but we know the lower courtyard had 7 steps up to it, and then now this one has 8. So that's 15 steps altogether. And he brought me into the inner courtyard toward the east, and he measured the gate according to these measurements. And its little rooms and its posts and its porches were according to these measurements. And windows were in it, and its porches all around. And why would he need to keep telling you about the windows and stuff? We've just taken the Most High for just a slobbering idiot, haven't we? And the writers of this who put pen to paper. We just must have thought that they didn't know their... And if that's the case, why have we been slapping people ourselves with it? Living our lives by it. Well, I'll tell you, there's a reason Abba gave it to us, made sure we had it, and a reason the enemy wants us to have it as well. You should know what I'm talking about, huh? I hope so. And he brought me to the north gate, and he measured it according to these measurements. Its little rooms, posts, porches, and it had windows all around. Its length was 50 cubits, and its width 25. And its posts were toward the outer courtyard, and palm trees were on its post on this side. That side, 8 steps led up to it. There was a room with its entrance by the post of the gate where they washed the ascending offering. They washed the ascending offering. To me, ascending makes me, when I read that, it makes me think of a offering that you don't just hand over at once. It's a process. It's something that you keep working on. They make it clean. They wash it, right? And in the porch of the gate were 2 tables on this side, 2 tables on that side. Tables, that's where you eat. Which to slay the ascending offering. Which to slay the ascending offering. Kill it. And the sin offering and the guilt offering. So, stay with me. They're not talking about actual killing of animals here. Trust me, it's a parable. People did sacrifice animals, yep. And they got it from this scripture, yep. But right here, he's talking about a place where you eat food, and he's telling you to slay sin offering, guilt offering, and ascending offering. 2 different tables. 4 tables were on this side, 4 tables on that side by the side of the gate, 8 tables on which they slew. All kinds of tables. Hopefully you're not envisioning a big butcher shop going down with feathers and blood flying everywhere, with priests just their robes red now from all the blood, are you? With hatchets in their hand? Nope. And there were 4 tables of hewn stone for the ascending offering, 1 cubit and a half long, 1 cubit and a half wide. So 3 cubits. 3 times 3, 9 cubits, a cube. On these, they placed the instruments with which they slew the ascending offering and the slaughterings. And the double hooks, a handbreadth wide, were fastened all around. And on the tables was the flesh of the offerings. So that's telling you that hooks are used to bring the offerings to that table. You can probably guess maybe a instrument or two that's been instrumental in you giving up certain things. I know. I sure can in my life. And the double hooks, a handbreadth wide, were fastened all around, and on the tables was the flesh of the offerings, and on the outside of the inner gate were the rooms for the singers in the courtyard. I don't think I'd want to go to a place where that vision you just had of blood and feathers and fur everywhere, and now they got singers just standing right outside just humming harmoniously while blood and feathers are squirting everywhere. I wouldn't want any part of that. I'll just put that out there. That's just not for me. The only time I ever done something like that was out of respect for the animal. When I hunted or whatever when I was young, I did some pretty horrible things. But I can say that I was encouraged to do it, and never one time until I got older was I told about it. I just went on a bird shooting spree. I was a boy with a rifle, you know. It's what they do. And he said to me, "This room facing south is for the priest who guard the duty of the house." The duty of the house. We can see part of the duty is bringing your offerings in, cleaning them, putting them on that table, and slaying them. And the room facing north is for the priests who guard the duty of the slaughter place. They are the sons of Zadok from the sons of Levi who come near Yahuwah to serve him. The duty of the slaughter place. And he measured the courtyard 100 cubits long, 100 cubits wide, a square. And so that was 1,000 square cubits in that courtyard. And the slaughter place was in front of the house. And he brought me to the porch of the house and measured the doorpost of the porch, 5 cubits on this side, 5 on that side, and the width of the gate was 3 cubits on this side, 3 on that side. And the length of the porch was 20 cubits, and the width 11 cubits. And by the steps which led up to it there were columns by the doorpost, 1 on this side and 1 on that side. Now I'm going to have to look into that column thing and see what that is. A column holds a lot of weight for big structures, right? Hopefully you understand that you are nowhere near being done with this chapter, and that you better be thinking of taking notes and what notes you're going to take already if you want to live. There's a reason he's telling us what our lives basically look like. There's a reason. So when I first read again about this, I read it the other night in chapter 38 when it talks about Gog and Magog, about the temple. Verse 1, and the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And you shall say, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, See, I am against you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal. Have you ever asked who that guy is? Who those people are? You probably, like me, just thought, we don't need to know that. He wouldn't have wrote it. People wouldn't have died getting it to you if you didn't need to know it. And I shall turn you around, and I shall put hooks into your jaws, and shall lead you out with all your army, horses and horsemen clad perfectly, a great assembly with armor and shields, all of them handling swords. Okay? Right here is the first clue that you need to use to identify who this is. He said, "Thus said the master to" who? "Son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog." So it's Gog. Tell him he's the prince of Rosh, Meshach, Tubal, and he's the prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal. Prophesy against him. Tell him the master Yahuwah said, "See, I'm coming against you. He's going to turn you around from the direction you're headed. He's going to put hooks into your jaw and shall lead you out with all of your army," with everything. And how we can identify them? They'll be handling swords. This isn't literal. This isn't talking about maybe after Armageddon or whatever, the apocalypse happens. We went back to the Stone Age where we're on horse and buggy and fighting with swords again. Or maybe we don't like the technology, the weapons, guns and stuff we have today, the lasers. We just throw them down and start swinging swords again. You don't think that, dude. Every word is necessary, and it's vital for you to understand if you want to live. Gog is a whole bunch of people. They got all kinds of assets and parts to their body that work as one, that handle swords. We know the swords, just like the Messiah has the two-edged sword coming out of his mouth. All he did was speak esteem of the Most High, the word of the Most High, and he said it correctly. That was that two-edged sword. The sword is the word. The enemy wants to kill you. The only way he can kill you is with the sword. And it's not literal. Persia, Cush, and Put are with them, all of them with shield and helmet. What's that? Why did he say that? We know when we read about putting on the whole armor of the Most High. What is it? The shield of, the helmet is of righteousness, right? And I think the shield, let's go look. Full armor. Having put on the breastplate of righteousness, I was wrong, see? Fitted your feet, preparation of good news, shield of belief, and the helmet of deliverance. There we go. Okay. Listen up, folks. This is scripture made easy by the chief. And man, if you're like me, you're just stuffing your face right now, aren't you? So we know they handle swords, the word of the Most High, and that all of them have shield and helmet. That's why he put those words there, so we would know that they claim to offer deliverance and that they believe. I hope you're not someone that's saying, oh, It's literal. That ain't what it means. He wouldn't have wrote it like that, really. Okay. Gomer and all its bands, the house of Tagorma, I can't say that, from the far north and all its bands, many peoples with you. Be ready. Prepare yourself, you and all your assemblies that are assembled unto you, and you shall be a guard for them. After many days you shall be called up. In the latter years you shall come into the land of those brought back from the sword. Here I am. And gathered from many people on the mountains of Yasharal. Here I am. Which had been a continual waste. Yes. I relayed the message, that the mountains of Yasharal are the things that have us up there on high. Righteousness, truth, honesty, integrity, love, compassion, care. So he's letting us know that those things had been a continual waste. Were they not? Yes, they were. And especially if you are seeing this for what it is, and your mind's blown right now, you see how it has been a continual waste. All those people who claim to love the Most High, they were all full of shit, whether they knew it or not. But they were brought out of the peoples, and all of them shall dwell safely. Okay, it said, many people of the mountains of Yasharal, which had been a continual waste. The mountains had. Then it says, but they were brought out of the peoples, and all of them shall dwell safely in those mountains. And you shall go up, coming like a storm, covering the land like a cloud, you and all your bands and many peoples with you. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, it shall be in that day that words arise in your heart, and you shall devise an evil plan. Words arise. What words? Doesn't say, does it? But we know it caused them to devise the evil plan. If they're wielding swords, what evil plan might that be? And you shall say, let me go up against the land of unwalled villages. Let me go to those at rest who dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates. Is that literal? Nope. It's these people who are compassionate, and they're caring, and they are riding on those mountains. They're reaping some of the fruit, from a lot of people who love the Most High's labor. But they didn't put any walls up. They don't think anyone is after them. They don't think this is a battle. They're sitting ducks. Well, the Most High is going to cause all those who kill with the sword to take plunder and to take booty from those who didn't build walls, to stretch out your hand against the waste places that are again inhabited, and against a people gathered from the peoples, acquiring livestock and goods who dwell in the middle of the land. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish and all their young lions shall say to you, have you come to take plunder? So yeah, for those of you who still want to say it's a parable, yeah, lions, they talk once in a while. So I forgot that we were reading from the Chronicles of Narnia. We're not. We're reading for the hand guide, whatever you want to call it, to life, the map, the way to pay dirt. The lions are going to say, have you come to take plunder? Have you gathered your army to take booty, to bear away silver and gold, to take away livestock and goods, to take great plunder? Therefore, son of man, prophesy, and you shall say to Gog, thus said the Master Yahuwah, in that day when my people Yasharal dwell safely, would you not know? What's that mean? Let's see what 15 says. And you shall come from your place out of the far north, you and many peoples with you, all of them riding on horses, a great assembly and a mighty army. What did he mean back here in 14 when he says, in that day, when this happens, when his people are dwelling safely, would you not know? Do you think Russia and China are keeping tabs on whether or not you are living righteously or not? I doubt it. And you shall come from your place out of the far north. And we read that. And you shall come up against my people Yasharal like a cloud to cover the land. Now, why does he say to cover the land? What it mean? Is it that he's saying to hide the land? Yeah, that's what he's saying. In the latter days it shall be. That's these days right here, baby. And I shall bring you against my land, in order that the nations know me. Every time I think of nations, I think of Native Americans. I don't know why, I just do. So that they would know him when I am set apart in you, O Gog, before their eyes. So he's saying that he's going to make Gog go against his land, cover it, hide it. But when he is set apart in him before their eyes, you think Gog's going to set him apart and esteem him? And they're going to find Abba through Gog? They will, but it won't be because Gog wanted to. They're going to be who loses to Abba Yahuwah, and the survivors who witness him being victorious over the enemy will know who Abba is through the enemy. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, are you the one I spoke of in former days by my servants, the prophets of Yasharal, who prophesied for years in those days to bring you against them? And it shall be on that day, on the day when God comes against the land of Yasharal, declares the Master Yahuwah, that my wrath shall come up in my face. For in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath I have spoken. On that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Yasharal. Not literal. Why does Abba get jealous? He don't want you serving anyone other than him. If you got a sword in your hand, the Bible, you think you're serving him, right? Well, apparently he's jealous. So you're doing something wrong. Maybe start with just eliminating things that aren't prescribed in the scripture. The world would rather kill you first before they would do that. They're not giving up Jesus and Lord and Christmas and stuff. No way. No way. There's a way. Like I said, Abba is that way. And he's the only way. On that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Yasharal. Yes, there has been. So that the fish of the sea, fish, we're fishers of men, and the birds of the heaven, angels, and the beast of the field, you already know, and all creeping creatures that creep on the earth, and all men who are on the face of the earth shall shake at my presence. The closer we get, the more turbulence we go through. And the mountains shall be thrown down, those things that we ride on, and the steep places shall fall. Steep, slippery, and you can't stay up there. You fall, and every wall falls to the ground. Everything protecting what's got you so up there with the Joneses is coming down. And I shall call for a sword against God on all my mountains. Is he just Abba coming off his throne demanding one of his servants to bring him a sword? He calls for it? No. I got it in my hand right there. I'm slicing and dicing. That sword he called. For each one being against his brother. The sword of each one being against his brother. And I shall judge him with pestilence and blood, and rain down flooding rain, and hailstones, fire and sulfur on him, trying, purifying, and on his bands, and on the many peoples who are with him. And I shall exalt myself and set myself apart, and I shall be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah, and they will. And I love it. I can't wait till everyone, there ain't a person that I walk past on this plane. I can't wait till I know that they all know who Abba Yahuwah is, and they all know what time it is. Damn right. So, where does he bring us? Bring God to Megiddo, right? Chapter 39, and you, son of man, prophesy against God and say, thus said the Master Yahuwah, see, I am against you, O Gog. He's the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal, and shall turn you around and lead you on and bring you up from the uttermost parts of the north and bring you against the mountains of Yasharal. Who do you think he's talking about? Why does he mention the north, the uttermost? I can only think of Pakistan and Ashkenazi. And they're the only ones, the Ashkenazis, who I think of that Abba made them come up against his land. So, Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal, will be led by Abba from the uttermost parts of the north, and he will bring them against the mountains of Yasharal, and shall strike the bow out of your left hand, and make the arrows fall from your right hand. On the mountains of Yasharal you shall fall, and you and all your bands and the peoples who are with you. You see all those things, people on the face of the field you shall fall, for I have spoken, declares Yahuwah, and I shall send fire upon Magog, and on those who live undisturbed in the coastlands. How many times we've read how if she only knew she was vulnerable, she might have been able to save herself. In Revelation, it says that because she thought that no one could destroy her, because of that, ignorance or whatever, because of that, she died. She was destroyed in 1 hour. That's what this is. That's why he says undisturbed on the coastlands. You can picture people in their beach houses. They think this ain't never going to stop. They shall know that the Most High, Yahuwah, is calling the shots, and I shall make my set-apart name known in the midst of my people, Yasharal. That's why you see so many people shouting his name. He wasn't lying. He ain't lying. He wasn't playing when he made these words to be put on paper and guided them through blood, sweat, and tears to get it to your lap right now. He wasn't playing. And I don't know why all y'all think he was. And if you think he was, then just tear those pages out. Go wipe your butt with them or something, I guess, because that's how much value you place on him. You think the Most High is just silly and he writes babblings, don't you? Same thing you think about me. Well, he's telling us right here that as he makes his set-apart name known in the midst of us, so that his set-apart name not be profaned anymore, and the nations shall know that I am Yahuwah, the set-apart one of Yasharallah in Yasharallah. See, it shall come and it shall be done, declares the Master, this is the day of which I have spoken. And those who inhabit the cities of Yasharal shall go out and set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields, those false beliefs, the bows that those people who didn't believe used against innocent people, clubs and spears, all their weapons. They shall make fires with them for 7 years. They're just going to have such a big pile of clubs and swords that they'll burn it and it'll keep them warm for 7 years, huh? Can you believe that we actually, considered that's what it was saying? We all need a big old slap for thinking that crap. For 7 years, it'll take 7 years to cleanse us from Babylon. And have you already began to be cleansed of Babylon? You have, haven't you? Me too. That means this war, this battle of Armageddon started a long time ago. Take no wood from the field, nor cut down any from the forest, for with the weapons they make fire. If it's not literal, what's that mean? They shall plunder those who plundered them, and loot those who looted them. That means they won't loot and plunder the trees who bear good fruit any longer. They'll survive off the weapons they used against those trees. And it shall be on that day that I give Gog a place for a burial site there in Yasharal, the valley of those passing by east of the sea. And stopping those passing by, because there they shall bury Gog and all his crowd, and shall call it the valley of Hamon-Gog. And the house of Yasharal shall bury them for 7 new moons in order to cleanse the land. The true mountains of Yasharal that we need to live on, to dwell safely in, is what is going to tear down this facade, this wall of bullshit that's been built around our minds to keep us prisoner. Those mountains are truce. They set us free. The house of Yasharal will bury those lies for 7 new moons. And all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be for a name to them on the day that I am esteemed. So now what's that saying? It shall be for a name to them on the day that I am esteemed. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably am. Is it saying, Abba saying that their name, they will be given a name, not literally, they'll make their name on that day because they were given esteem to the Most High? Maybe. And they shall separate men who continually pass through the land, burying those who were passing through, those left on the surface of the ground, in order to cleanse it. At the end of 7 new moons, they shall search. So, and it says, 14, and they shall separate men who continually pass through the land. And then he's not talking about bodies. Separate men, burying those who were passing through, those left on the surface of the ground, in order to cleanse it. At the end of the 7 new moons, they shall search. Those passing through shall pass through the land. And when anyone sees a man's bone, he shall set up a sign beside it, till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Gog. And also a city named Hamanah shall be there, so they shall cleanse the land. Now wait, 16's a little suspiciously short there, isn't it? It says, and also a city named Hamanah shall be there, so they shall cleanse the land. Let's go look. There we go. Etymology of that name, Hamanah, denoting a large group of noisy people. And there's more to this meaning that has to do with theological mistranslations. The meaning of the name, we'll see. Biblical names. What's this one I looked at? Yep. Metaphysical meaning of Hamanah: host, multitude, noise, tumult, commotion of mind. There you go. The prophetic name of a city that is mentioned in conjunction with the Hamon-Gog. They shall cleanse the land, the great multitude of true thoughts that shall be established in man's consciousness in place of the host of error, selfish, warring thoughts that are being overcome and put entirely out of existence, insofar as the individual is concerned. So, I hope that anyone who's made it this far by now understands that that wasn't parables we were reading. I hope you come to the understanding that it's a parable, because it's going to take a lot more than Russia and China duking it out for this land to be cleansed. That's the whole reason he put those prophecies in Ezekiel. So we would know what it's going to take to enter into the house, the set apart place, and to be cleansed, the land be cleansed, and for us to live in shalom for eternity. We're going to have to follow protocol. If you don't, and it's just how it is, if you don't come to a certain truth, you'll never come to the truths that you need to come to that are on the other side of that first big pearl of truth. Please stop believing that the gate is one actual big pearl. How would you even get through that thing? Confusion. Your minds have been sliced up, carved up. There's not much left. There's things that you believe wholeheartedly that are absolutely 1,000,000,000% absurd. And I can't, for the life of me, see, well, I know that Abba made it that way, but I can't take it that you can't see it. But a simple, logical truth that I could share with you is just, it's too much for you to even handle hearing. It's sad, but there's a reason that the fire gets hotter the closer you get to it, because the more you become refined, the more dross has to come out in order for you to be purified the way you are to be. And like I've said, Abba, he covers so many things. He knew that as we got closer, that dross come out like crawfish in a boiling pot. They begin to want out of that water as it gets hotter and hotter. That these people would lose slowly but surely the voice of the bridegroom they have in them, and that love would wax cold. He knew that that would take place, and that we would be so frustrated with it, and that there would be part of our refining process, that eventually we wouldn't be overcome with grief when all our loved ones are destroyed because of their absurd ignorance. He knew what it would take, because he's the mastermind, baby. And even though I'm tired and wore out and just, I've had it, I really have, but gotta keep on trucking, right? I'll be here, Abba willing, and you can thank him for my needed reassurance and reminder that this mic is all I got and I need to stop thinking that I shouldn't rock it, because whenever in doubt, whip it out and rock this mic. And I know y'all will throw away the whole message for one adult potential way of taking things. Just more error in your mind. I would never speak like that. But if we're talking about my phone, to get on it, hit record, and start esteeming the Most High, I'll whip it out wherever. In a public bathroom, y'all. Shalom, shalom. Pray for me. I love y'all. Till next time. Hopefully it's soon rather than later. Peace.